Designing a course for online delivery presents a number of unique challenges, but at the same time opens up a number of different ways to engage students, ideally in a community of learning and ultimately practice. In a sense, because of the opportunities that online learning affords, it should not be seen as an inferior alternative to face-to-face. However, statistics do show that whilst popular, completion rates in online courses tend to be lower. So, this raises the question of how can one best design an online course to avoid this dropout. Quite commonly, when someone moves to teaching online, they will naturally think, how do I translate what I used to do face-to-face to online? This can often lead to blind alleys and poor student experiences, and therefore a far better approach is to start with what is it that I want my students to learn and be able to do after completing my online course. Following on from this, and to help with working out the journey through an online course for your students, you should consider framing your plans around some established principles for good teaching, such as the 7 principles from Chickering and Gamson, alongside a framework shown to promote effective online learning, such as the Community of Inquiry framework, as well as a practical tool like Gilly Salmon's Etivities Guide to help design specific learning activities, as well as an overall strategy for the active development of a community of learners. Armed with the inspiration that can be gained from accepted effective practice for design, plus your own experience of your subject and your students, there are a number of practical considerations that you can take into account as you put your course together. These include, for example, organising what you need up front, gathering all the learning materials and assessment details and practice activities that you've previously put together for other courses that you've taught, whether they're face-to-face courses or online courses. Next, and I know this sounds easy, you need to carve out the time that you can spare to put your course together. And when you know how much time you have, start by defining or redefining the goals, the learning goals for your course. After that, the next logical step is to start to map out the key concepts or topics that you will cover as you go through the course, bearing in mind the learning objectives of the course. And then alongside that, you need to begin mapping out the activities and resources you will put together or curate to help students make meaning of the concepts or topics that you are going to cover. At this stage, you're not going to be too specific. The goal here is to develop an outline or map of the module. Specific session plans or weekly plans will come later in the implementation process. There can be a tendency when creating an online course to focus too much on content. After all, content is comforting, and in the modern age there are so many resources available to us that we could include in our course. However, a key thing is that we must try to zero in on how to get our students to focus on what it is we really want them to learn. To help with this, it's vital to align the key components of your course, the materials, the activities, the assignments, and the technology that you will use, and to help your students to understand this alignment and what it means to them in terms of their learning and development and success. If you think through or do all of the things suggested so far in this video and summarized on this slide, with any necessary minor variations that may derive from very specific subject contexts or ways of teaching, then one final thing worth spending time on at this stage is your assessment strategy. How will you go about making effective use of formative and summative assessments online to help students demonstrate that they have attained the course learning goals? A virtual learning environment like Blackboard provides a wide range of tools that can be used to help deliver defined assessment goals. These tools go well beyond the essay and online tests. Though having said that, short online quizzes can be a good way to monitor student engagement and understanding if they're used reasonably regularly through a course. In addition, however, you can use discussion boards to support assessment, journals for student reflections, peer assessment and group assignments. All of these can be integrated with and used to support whatever assessment strategy is ultimately defined for the course concerned. Whilst what I've covered so far in this video will not give you a finished, ready-to-go online course, going through these stages will lay a firm basis for the more detailed session planning that you will subsequently do. As you go through this week of the course, you'll be able to watch a series of short videos designed to engage you a little more with the models for design that were mentioned earlier in this recording. In addition, this week we'll consider how best to organise an online site for a course and do some thinking around some of the legal considerations one needs to take into account when compiling a course. As well as this, there are discussions to take part in about course design and what tutors can do to help ensure a good online experience for students. Thank you.